because I have forgotten to do that in a couple of my classes. So, yeah,
Mm,
it's good to see you.
you
How are
too.
you, how are you feeling today?
I am good. How are you?
Good, 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 good. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start us and take us right in because today we're doing a lot of, not a lot of painting, but we are.
Okay. Just so
Okay.
you know, I got the scrubby brushes, and I got this.
Is that
See,
Payne's Gray?
and I got the little,
Oh, good.
yeah, and the little, got all that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So, let me do a check-in with you. Because last
Mhm.
week there was a little bit of, if you had time, homework to do. So I just want to touch base to see where you're at.
Okay. I finished blocking. I don't know if you can see, and I outlined her face.
Great.
So I got that much done. Yeah. And
So let,
I'm feeling better because I was starting to get stressed out. Like I wanted to start over. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
no, I'm just gonna finish it.
Oh,
It'll
I
be
hope
fine. It'll be
good.
good.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy that you're gonna finish it because the end result, here's the thing about painting on a canvas. We go through so many stages of it, and there's even what's called an ugly stage. Some artists that I know refer to it as the hot mess stage because it looks so bad and it doesn't look like it's going to come together, but it's you're going through transformation with it, and sometimes you put on layers and it's just like, but you kind of gotta overlook that because you know that, well, I'm not even to the place of tying it all together yet. So I'm glad you're sticking
Right.
with it and not redoing it. So to me, it sounds like you got through that first part of step 5.
Yeah.
So we're good to go. So I'm going to light our
Perfect.
candle and then I'll breathe us and do a quick little check-in with our paintings.
Okay.
I don't know if I asked you, are you opening to your muse or to divine feminine? Goddess.
To divine feminine
So to goddess or your energy.
goddess.
Do you have a specific goddess that you work with?
Um, yeah. So I usually work with Athena or the goddess Tulsi from Ayurveda. You know, she's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. So are you connecting with either one of those energies for this painting?
you know, I didn't. I did goddess as a whole for this painting.
Okay, and that's not a problem, because it would be cool then at some point that a painting just for communion with specific
That
goddess.
would be
And
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, okay. All right, so I'm gonna light our candle and just breathe us, and then there's one little inquiry we'll do, and then we'll come out and then we'll move forward and finish, complete step 5. We'll get through step 6 for sure. We'll get through step 7. I feel very confident on that. And it's a possibility that we'll begin to look at step 8. Step 8 and 9 really go hand in hand. So if there's time, if we get to it, we'll go through both of those today, but otherwise we'll do those at the kickoff of next week. And then we do 10 and 11, which are the big, like where it all starts to come together. So,
Okay.
all right, so here we go. Let me light my candle. Okay. So, whoops, I dropped my light. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna hold it up so you can see it. Okay. So let's just settle into our body temple. And this candle is lit for our sisterhood and our togetherness on this painting journey as we explore our divine feminine energy, the goddess energy, and open to the essence of her within us as well as around us. And we're going to just follow the flow of our breath inward now, breathing our natural current as we flow in and follow it, riding it into sacred center within body temple. And exhaling, staying in sacred center, allowing every inhale breath to begin to share love with us. And as we exhale, sharing love with our world. So just do a couple of those breath cycles, receiving love and sharing love at your own pace, 2 or 3 of them. And as we rest in this sacred center filled with love, and we open our ancient eyes, and as we imagine, sense, visualize, or perceive the sacred space of our inner landscape formed around us, on the canvas within your inner landscape, imagine, sense, visualize, or perceive your painting. See what you have done of it now. Know it. Trust that it's there. And we're going to call to the goddess energy to open even more fully to us as we begin to deep listen, to listen to what she has to tell us. For she's going to share with us a few symbols that she would like us to put onto the canvas at this step. So I'm going to go quiet for a couple of minutes, and as you open to receive her message, just be aware of the symbols she shows you, and also if she talks about any color to you, just open and let that flow now as we welcome the presence of Goddess. And just ask her if there's anything else you need to know. And take a gentle breath in as you embrace the symbols or message that she's given you. And as you breathe that in fully into your heart, know that in a moment you will begin to transfer that onto your canvas. But bring your awareness to the back of your closed eyelids, preparing to come back into visual contact with your physical canvas. And when you do blink open your eyes, I invite you to turn and really look at that canvas, remembering what she shared with you. And so when you are ready, feel free to blink your eyes open and turn and gaze upon your canvas. And also feel free to make any notes in your journal about the information she shared with you. Okay. So I'm going to shift to me as I just share about the next step that we're going to be doing. So we're finishing up step 5, which is the encounter. And in this encounter, we began to look at her face features, to look at bringing life, letting her come alive by outlining her eyes and defining where her pupils are and her nostrils, where the opening of her lips are, her ears. Even if just like for the ears, what I demonstrated last week, just a dash of the Payne's Gray. This is a preliminary step. So we're identifying it. We're really just giving her that life. And we're being mindful, though, um, um, that this is going to be redone several times. We're going to come back to this step multiple times before we're finished. In fact, as we continue even today, you might find that you'll come back to step 5, to the beginning of step 5, and you'll redo it, and you'll redo it, and you'll redo it. And you're going to intuit that. You're going to know when you need to redo those. And so as we begin to paint, you'll always have a little bit of that Payne's Gray on your palette ready to dab into and redo that as you hear and feel called and moved. We're going to be surrendering left brain thinking, linear thinking, and we're going to be flowing into intuitive process. From this point forward, even more so than before, you're stepping aside and you're letting that divine feminine, that goddess, paint. She's going to paint. So you're just helping to hold her brush and you're going to watch that brush. And it's a weird concept to think about, but once you surrender to it, all of a sudden you're just moving with it and it becomes something really exhilarating and fulfilling. So what we're doing now for the end of step 5 is we're going to think about the color that you want her face, her skin. So look at your canvas for a moment. Become aware of where her face is. Do you have ears showing, neck? Do you have shoulders? Do you have arms? Become aware of all the places where her skin is revealed, because technically that's going to be all the same color, but we'll, as we move forward into uh, some of 8 and 9, we're going to be bringing shadows and light into her skin. But today we're going to work with one skin color. So all of those places are going to need that color. So I want you to just take a moment to really look at her and to ask her. We begin deep listening to our canvas, and sometimes when I'm deep listening to my canvas because I really want to open up and receive, I actually listen. I actually have put my ear against my canvas. I know that sounds silly, but it's just that sympathetic act that I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I mean, skin color has been everything and anything. I'm always shocked at the skin color that I'm told, and I trust whatever comes through. You know, I mean, I've had green goddesses and blue goddesses and purple goddesses and flesh goddesses. You know, it's what they want to be, and that's okay. so we don't edit what we hear. So I'm going to invite you at this point just to take a moment and open up to hear what the primary color of your face is. Sometimes people get two colors. Be okay with that if you get two colors. But we're going to quiet in for a moment, and I'm going to turn and face my canvas until I receive my color also. Okay? All right. Once you get that color, trust it, make a note of it, and so at this point, for step 5, let me grab my paint real quick. Okay. Um, she wants, mine is gonna want, she wants pink and a purple, which is weird, but okay, I'm all right with it. So I just put a little dab on my palette, and I'm going to take a scrubby brush, okay? And all I'm gonna do, oh, here it is. All I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna make my canvas big now. I'm gonna take me away and make my canvas big because I'm just gonna demonstrate. Okay, you see my workstation, right? Okay. So what we're gonna do, and we're only working on the face, so I'm only gonna be working right here. Everything else I'm forgetting about. And I'm going to do the same exact thing, which is keeping the glow. I'm going to make sure, even though I've got another base color in there on top of the background, I'm still going to keep the glow. So when I come in, I can see a little bit of my yellow, and I can see this background. So I'm just coming in, and I'm not doing it real thick. I'm not doing it thick. I'm just getting the color on there. This is the base of the skin. Now, when I come to the eyes, when I come to the nose, when I come to all of this area, I am going to go ahead and go over it. So if I bury some of my crease lines, I can still see them through my paint because I'm not using a lot of paint. Because we're going to add all those again. Even my eyebrow, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to go over them. You know, I'll keep them the best I can, but I'm not letting them hinder me. For the eye, the same thing. I'm just going around it. So I'm just getting a coating on. And that's what we're going to do now, is we're just going to paint all our skin in that one color. Now, I was given two colors, which is really interesting. So I just want to say one last thing. I don't know if I'm going to do this, but when I'm given two colors, what I do is I half the face. But I'm hearing that it's just I'm supposed to put that color as a tint later on. So I'm just going to go with this pink that I heard first, okay? So do you want to listen to music, or do you want just to paint? Oh, you're muted.
There you go. We could do music if you want. That's fun.
Okay, I'll do some music. I got some cool new music that I use Spotify for this. So I will share the sound. You'll have to adjust it on your side for volume though, because I just turn it all the way because I never know what a person needs. All right,
Okay.
let me get it here. All right. This is Ken Fables. They're mostly instrumental, but it's very otherworldly. I've just fallen in love with it. So,
Okay, cool. Thanks.
okay, can you hear it? It's cricket.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. So we're going to paint for about probably 5 to 10 minutes. I'll check with you after this song. This is a 7-minute song, so I'll check with you after it and we'll see if we need more time. Oh my goodness, if that was the full song, it went by quick. We still have another minute. Okay, how are you doing there, Jane? Do you need more time?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, great, 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 great. Okay. So now we're going on to step 6. And step 6 is a connecting step. So what it's doing for us, it's letting the story of the painting start to come out. So what's going to happen is, and I want to just say this right here, we consider to be the potency of intentional creativity, because we're translating the messages coming from our inner landscape and from Goddess or from Divine Feminine or Muse, whichever a person is working with, and we're bringing it out onto the canvas as a symbol, as patterns. So it's almost as if we are going into a coded message, a coded language, and this level, this layer is still one of the layers. We're not getting precious about it. It's putting the energy into the canvas. It's putting the connection so that it becomes really for us personal. It becomes a connection for us personally. And we will paint over some of it. Some of it will come out at the end, but some of it will be gone forever. So we're not worried about that. So what I'm going to demonstrate for you is how to bring in some of the details now, at especially whatever you were told. So for example, one of the messages that she brought through for me was that she wanted to see, starting in her hair, and I'm not sure how this is happening yet, and going across her head to her wing and wrapping around her wing, a string, a vine with some leaves on it, but giant pearls. And it's like, okay, those are important symbols. They have a communication that's part of her story and her essence and energy, and it was just given to me. So as I paint, I'll begin to listen to understand, what does that mean? What is it for me too? And we're going to reconnect. In a moment, I'm just going to reconnect you with your intention for your painting. That's important, that every few steps we stop and we reconnect with our painting's intention before we begin the next phase, because now you're going into another phase. And one of the things also about this is that we're moving into that place of knowing that more things could come out. So you received only a starting point, but while we do this, more things can come out. So I'm going to demonstrate to you a few things. And this is also a phase that we add what's called prayer dots. And I'll show you how we do that, okay? So What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some titanium white and I'm gonna mix in a little bit of yellow with it, okay? Because I don't want, it's like, remember when we sketched her? So I'm gonna do that a little bit. I'm just gonna sketch it in because then I'll paint it in. But this will help me in case I make any, like, oh, that doesn't, you know. So all I'm gonna do is mix a little bit of yellow and white together. And then I'm going to take a round brush, but I'm going to take a smaller round brush. So I'm not using a real big one, just a small one. I know it's kind of hard because I've got it there. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to begin a part of getting her down. And then I'm going to show you some other things, okay? She wants it to come in, so and I'm gonna let it go behind her wing, and then I'm gonna have it come back up on the front side of her wing. We will see how this turns out. And then it's gonna come here, but I think I'm gonna have it dangle, just dangle. I know she wants it wrapped around the wing, but I think if I wrap it around the wing, I'm gonna get too much going. So I'm just gonna dangle it. So I've got it starting here, comes up, across her head, it just goes to the back side, comes back up on the front side. There, okay, and then I was shown leaves, okay? So I'm just gonna add a leaf here. So I'm gonna add just simple leaves. But the thing is, once I add my leaves in, she wanted pearls, right? So my pearls, and I was shown 3 pearls to, whoops, I should talk right here, 3 pearls together at a time. So I'm gonna start right here, and I'm gonna do 1 big pearl, 2 big pearl, 3 big pearl. And I'm not worried about how they look. I'm just getting the energy, the feeling of it. But those I'm gonna make solid because pearls are gonna be white, so it's not gonna be so much of an importance. But I think I'm supposed to do like 2 leaves at a time. Okay, well, so what happens is there's also this energy that starts to happen where the leaves and the pearls and this will get all drawn in. But once I've drawn that in, I'm going to come in and add the detail on my, not detail, but the energy of my, I'm getting paint all over me, the energy of my wings. And when I'm ready for prayer dots, I'll tell you I'm doing prayer dots so you can look. But that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get her most obvious direction in, which is this pearl and leaf vine. And then once I do that, this would be the time that I would come in and do some detailing on her leaves. Now, because I'm using such a light color, it's going to have that hot mess look to it because it's all going to look like just a bunch of stuff on it. But I'm going to relax about that because that's the only thing I can do. And once I get that done, then I'm going to open up and see what happens and where I'm drawn to it. So I think it's probably going to take about a song for me to paint that on and to do some detail to her wings. So I'm going to invite, you don't have to sit here watching what I do. I'm going to invite you to begin working with your own canvas, and then I'll share, when I get to the prayer dots, then I'll actually invite you to stop as I demo that, okay? So, any questions on that part? No? Okay, yeah. So here we go. I'm going to put, this next piece of music is going to be 6 minutes long, so that's good. That'll be a good amount. Okay. How are you doing? Do you need more time?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, good. Let me stop the music. So prayer dots, when we begin to add the story, the message of the story, we come in and sometimes it's just a matter of finding a part of her body and adding these prayers. These are like prayers to the divine. you know, and sometimes they're just random, but to us they're not. So we're adding that process of really connecting with her and bringing it out. And also sometimes there's a symbol that might want to come through. Like I keep seeing that this is going to be an areola, you know, but at this, oh, I'm sorry, I keep blocking my camera. Um, that she's going to have a light crown on up here, but I'm also seeing some other symbols that want to come out. So I'm just going to take a minute and add a few more prayer dots. I'm a honeycomb in her wing. Her whole wing is supposed to be a honeycomb. I didn't think I would be doing honeycombs again. I've done two other paintings with honeycombs in it, so
And the
that's
prayer dots can go anywhere.
the prayer dots can go anywhere. You can even put prayer dots on her eyes. You can put markings on her skin. You can put, you know, like it's not abnormal to put a mark, a star on her forehead, you know, for enlightenment. I mean, it's what now it's design time. You know what I mean? Where things are getting added to it, details are getting added to it, but we're putting them on and then we're going to be painting over it all. Some we might choose to pull back out, others they'll be buried forever. You know what I mean? But right now we're just bringing through, we're listening and bringing through. Like she might all of a sudden say, I really want a triple spiral, which is what she just said. So it's like, well, where do you want that triple spiral? Well, I want it right up here. So I'm going to add the triple spiral right up here, you know? It's because it's her painting. It's what she wants. So I'm just putting it in there without any thought, without any worry. I'm writing down her message to me more or less. And see, like I've just been told I want golden hair. Well, we're not ready to paint the hair yet, but I it just came in. Boom. I want golden hair. It's like, okay, you'll have golden hair. And when we're done with this, we're going to take a picture of everything we put on before we go to the next phase, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Uh, okay. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to make a note. Golden hair. Golden hair. And take a picture. Okay. So you can see how I just followed the instinct of what I was shared. Let me bring you full. Let me bring you full. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. Let me see.
Okay. I'm stuck. Can you see?
Oh yes. 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 Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Doesn't that feel good?
It's feeling better. I don't know if I'm good yet, but better.
That's all that matters is that it's feeling better. So
Yeah.
this initial uh, mm, decoration, for lack of a better word, this initial input that we put onto our canvas now, um, that's her message to us. Those are her symbols. So they're going to unfold and continue to be revealed to us personally what she actually is saying to us. We can think we know what they mean. It's like, oh, I know what that means. I know what the spiral means to me. I know what that means to me. But all of a sudden, it might be a month after you have this done. All of a sudden, you'll be listening to her because I'll show you how to continue to work with your painting even after it's painted. And all of a sudden, the whole message in its entirety comes out, and it's phenomenal when that happens. And it does. It always does. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. We'd use the prayer dots for when we're listening, when we're doing that deep listening and we're doing that connecting. And we've come out of meditation or, with some symbols that we've heard want to be put on, and we're painting them on. And we do the prayer dots as we're opening up and surrendering even more to hear if there's anything else to come on. Like all of a sudden the triple spiral. Okay, the triple spiral. The honeycomb in the upper wing. Okay, I gotta put that in now. Oh, okay, add the the frills on the leaves, add the hearts, do the blessing on her fore. You know what I'm saying? So the prayer dots helped me to open up more to hear those messages. So then I would add something. If I didn't hear anymore, I would continue with the prayer dots. And then all of a sudden you hear done. You hear it done. And you step away from it at that point. More will continue to come, but at this phase, she's given you her message now. So now we're going to step 7. Step 7. This is the integration. This is the transition, what we call the alchemical bridge. So with this, we're halfway through the 13 steps, and the longest part of the journey is up to this point. So we're midway, and we're week 3. So it makes sense, right? So we're going to begin to do what's called layering with lights, darks, and mediums. So we use the darks to pop out, okay? And what I mean by that is you've got your scrub brush, right? I have to grab another one in just a second. You're going to take your Payne's Gray, and when you look at your canvas, I'm gonna spotlight my canvas. Okay. When you look at your canvas, you're looking at the areas of the big portion, the wing. I'm just saying mine, okay? The head, the wing, right? The shoulders, part of the arm. That's outer part. So technically, I want all that to pop out of the canvas. So one of the things I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get my scrub brush with very little paint on it. Sorry, I know I'm big in the camera. And all I'm going to do is scrub, keeping the glow around areas to make it pop. And we don't think, remember, this is under the final painting, okay? We haven't even begun to do the painting yet. So when we add the darks right now, we're doing it because we want to show, I'm putting it on a little darker so you can see it. You're not going to put yours on as dark, okay? But you're going around the outer edge, especially on the shadow side, and you're making that part of her head pop. Yeah, see how I just put those on? But I want her head to pop, so I don't care. I'm going to go right on over them, right? This part is going to end up being light, but I'm going to add a little dark because for me, the light's coming this way, okay? But on this side, all of this side is in shadow. So I might even go all the way over and bring it out. But I want to define a little bit of her body, her hair, between her and the wing. So I'm gonna get a little bit more on my brush, not a lot. And right here where her body is, her shoulder is, I'm gonna lift her body out. I'm creating 3D with this. I'm popping her body out. I'm showing that her hair is behind her body. Now I'm showing that her hair is in front of her wing by defining it. You see that? So it's these ways that we use the shadow to begin to pop things out more and more and more at us. We're not worried about the face at this point. This is a bigger version. This is a bigger version of what we will eventually do in the face with darks and lights. So you're strategic with it. You look at it. You don't worry about going over anything that you just sketched. You're just adding and defining right now. I'm going to come over and do this leaf. And you're going to put it on lightly. Don't have a lot of heavy paint, okay? And you'll see why in a moment. We're just scrubbing it on. Okay, then once we do the dark, we're going to come in with just a little bit of light. So I'm going to use my titanium white. Boy, I'm messing up with the camera today. I'm going to use my titanium white, and I'm going to get a small brush, a round brush, a circle brush, and I'm going to just get it. I'm using the white and the yellow that I had done earlier, but mostly the white part of it. And I'm going to come in, and I know that this area right here is going to be lighter because it's got my son and it's the top of the head. So I'm just going to put a little bit of lightness on there. Up here on this wing, I'm going to put a little bit of whiteness. So I put the shadow there, the dark first, but I'm now putting a little white on it because that's the tip that's closest to all the light, you know. And I'm just strategic with it. I'm not doing a lot, but I'm just identifying for myself where when I start to add the real paint, I'm going to accentuate lights and darks. So up here, light, I'm putting white. I already put it on the top of her crown right here. This hair right here is going to be hit with light, so I'm going to go ahead and make that darker. This side of her face is going to be hit by light, so I'm going to make that a little bit lighter by adding some white to it. This part of her neck, that shoulder, these will all be hit with light. I'm not worried about perfection. I'm just identifying light, 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 light. So I'm going to add just a little more shadow and a couple spots. By adding the shadow right there, it's going to make the white pop even more when I get to that point. Okay. Okay, how you doing there?
Good.
Okay. Okay, this, like the coming alive of number 5, will be something that as you're painting from this point forward, you might find yourself going back to, I need a little more shadow there. Oh, I need a little more light there. We put it in place and then we start painting. And as we paint, we deepen it as we need to deepen it. But now it's defined. You've defined it more. All right, so now we're at the bottom of 7. This is a heavy one. We're going to do the glaze. Okay. Um, I just want to share a moment about the glaze before we do it, because some artists really are afraid of it. And I know I talked to you last session about it, but it bears repeating just a little bit today because we're going to actually be doing it today. So um, the first mindset to put yourself into is that, okay, I just went on this journey. I just went in, I just opened myself up and connected with the essence of Goddess. I really worked myself in surrendering and receiving from her. Okay, that's the first thing. And I have opened a portal on my canvas. I have invited her into this realm as I began to be a co-creator with her and begin to manifest her onto my canvas. I've listened to her deeply. I've received a personal message. She's given me important symbols. I've put those onto my canvas. At this point, it's as if we're crossing that bridge now, that alchemical bridge, and she's retreating. She's retreating back into her realm, okay? And as she retreats back into her realm, a veil comes between the worlds again. That's what the glaze is. It's the veils. And then we are going to paint the echo of her, the essence of her, the memory of her. Okay? So, one thing I want you to do now, 2 things. You can do this with me as soon as I demonstrate one part of it, which is probably the best idea. But you can also just watch and do it afterwards. But it's we're stronger when we're together, because I'm going to tell you something. Every time I come to the glaze, I always go, oh, but I'm always happy in the end that I did, even when at first I'm not happy. Once I start painting and moving towards the fullness and the completion of the painting, I'm always 100% in all of my paintings that I do it in, happy I did it in. Okay, so I've not once said no. And I've only painted maybe 15 paintings in this method, but not one of them have I gone, eh. All right, so what we're going to do, the first thing I need you to do, I really, really, really need you to do, is go up, take your cloth, and just go up to your painting and make sure nothing is wet or piled in goop, that you don't have big blotches of paint anywhere because you're going to spread them if you do. And then you're going to get all these smears. So you just kind of come over your painting and make sure you don't have a lot of paint in any one area. If you did it with light paint, you pretty much have it dry by now, but wherever you come across, you go, oh, there's paint, I just brought it off my finger. Then take your cloth and press in and blot it. Okay, that's all you need to do. And you're removing the excess paint. I have one major spot right there. That spot. Okay. Everybody else is pretty good, and even that spot is good now. That's the first thing we do. Now, we're gonna take our glaze. We got our cloth. I'm gonna bring me back so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll go to the picture. So we get all of our tools in place. Cloth, check. Glaze, check. Palette to put the glaze on, check. Okay, this is important. I spill my glaze everywhere. I just need a bowl for this, but I never use it. You have a spray bottle of water, check. If you don't have it, I can show you what to do. I've got my container of water here with some of my brushes soaking in it. You got your spray bottle, good. Now I use a big brush for my glazing process. You use the biggest brush you have, whatever size that is. And for right now, sink it into your water. Let it get nice and watery. Just set it in your water for a minute, okay? Now, we're going to take our, so you got all your tools there. They're all there. You are good to go. Your canvas is relatively dry. You don't have any big paint spots anywhere. You've gone over it. You can move your hands over it without getting a bunch of paint on your hands. Your brush is soaking. You got your cloth. You got your glaze. You got your spray bottle. You got your palette or bowl or whatever you're using. So the first thing we're going to do is take our water. So just watch this part of it. Okay, just watch. I'm going to demonstrate one thing, and then you're going to do it with me. You're going to finish it with me. So when we glaze, when our canvas is relatively a good size, if it's a small canvas, if it's a small size canvas, we can do it all at one time. But when it gets up to this size, you're going to work in quarters. Okay, so you're going to work only in 1/4 at a time. The longer the glaze sits on our canvas, the deeper and darker it gets. So we're not interested in using the glaze to paint with. We're just using the glaze to make everything unified, to pull everything together so that it puts all of this into the background, because everything we've done up to this point is simply background. Even our main figure, it's all background. Our canvas, once we glaze, is ready to begin the painting process. And next week, that's what we do, is we paint. We begin the actual painting. So I got all my cloth here. I got everything. I'm just getting it all closed. So the first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and spray everything. Okay? And then I'm going to take my glaze. You don't need a lot of it. Here's my palette, and I'm pouring about a quarter size on it. That's all I'm pouring. See, about a quarter size of glaze. Then I'm going to take a little bit of my water, and I'm just going to get it a little wet. See how it's a little runny? See that? And I spill it all over my floor, so that's why I have drop cloths everywhere. But then I'm taking my big brush that's been soaking in the water, and now I'm going to make a mess, a nice mess here. And I'm getting my brush filled with glaze, and I have to put my palette down, otherwise I spill it. And I'm coming over and I'm going to just glaze. And I'm getting all of this corner. Okay, once I have it painted on, I take my cloth and I burnish it. Now I'm going to do this side because it dripped, and right now I'm not going to worry about those drips. I'm just going to continue with my glazing process, sorry, and I'm going to go right into there. So I do top then bottom on one full side, and then I go to the other side. And now it's your turn. And I don't know if you can see the difference. It's a subtle difference, but the left side is all pulled together in one coloration now. Okay. So what you've done when you're complete is you have crossed the alchemical bridge. You've put the veil back down over the portal, because to keep a portal open is to continue to have things come through that you might not, energies that you might not want to come through. And we want it to be, as we just surrender to the painting process, we want to be able to open up fully without any worry. At this point, we've had a very contained, a very controlled container. We've called through, we've asked, we've opened, we've set that boundary, but and she's brought through the information. So we've honored her with listening, deep listening, doing her prayer dots. And so now we close the portal so that there's not an openness into the other world in our space. And that is the you've heard about sympathetic magic, right? I mean, sympathetic magic is we enact something physical, and so that's what it is. By doing the glaze, by burnishing it, we sympathetically close the portal. So, how does it feel? I'm going to bring us into gallery view because I am done talking for today. And just a second. There. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
All right. Very cool. So I think you're probably seeing there's a lot of symbolism in this process. Everything is done really with complete intention. So between now and next week, um, you have even more homework. Here's your homework. This is more of you doing a little more deep listening, but the first one is to find a quiet time when you have maybe 15 minutes up to 30 minutes, whatever, time you can, but a minimum of 5, 10, 15 minutes you can do this in. Where you just maybe with a cup of tea, or I don't know if you're a coffee drinker, or just something in the morning when you're fresh, when you can carve out that little time and come and just sit before your painting. Okay, the portal's closed. There's an energy vibration there. Sit before it with your journal and ask for a deepening of understanding in the message of her symbols that she showed you. Even if you think you know them, ask her to tell you more, to tell you why those symbols, why. And then just journal about it. So now, as you're moving forward, you're just really connecting in a deepening way, which is step 8, will be deepening. The second homework to do is to pick out your palette. So as we move forward into next week, we begin the final painting process. You're going to be painting with your regular paintbrushes. You're going to be laying on heavy coats, none of the scrubbing. We're not going to be doing scrubbing anymore because you've done all of that. You've got the background of the entire painting done. So palette time. Um, and this is something you might even find a second point of quiet time where you can sit before your painting, which really is amazing to do, and to ask what palette, what are the colors? 3 to 5 colors. What are the 3 to 5 colors? Sometimes you only get three, sometimes you get five, but any more than that, it starts to look like a circus painting, you know. So it could even be that you just ask, what 3 colors are the palette? What 3 colors are the palette? I already know one of mine, don't I? She told me today, I want my hair golden. Well, I guess I have painted golden hair, but not pure golden hair. So I've already been given one of my colors, gold. But I'll sit down and I'll ask her again, what color do you want this palette? But you've already brought through her color ray vibration when we first listened and we first were given 3 colors to paint with for mind, body, and soul. So that's the color ray vibration of the painting. Now it's more about the aesthetics of it. So you want to choose, it's okay to listen, but it's also okay to choose what you want your palette to be. Um, you know, but at least to start off with 3 colors. We've got our face color. Today you chose your face color. Believe it or not, that's one of the colors, but that's one of the 5 colors. So you're going to have hair. So think about that. You're going to have hair. We're going to look at the skin color. We're going to continue to work with that skin color you brought out, but we're going to be mixing some paint to get a tint and a shade of that color, which we'll do next week. So make sure you have your titanium white with you and you have your Payne's gray with you, because we're going to be using both of those with our skin color as we go into that process. And we start right off with that process. We do the face next. We start off with the face, and then from there we start painting the other part. Does she have clothes on? What color are her clothes? What color is, do you know what the background color is going to be yet? It's okay if you don't, because there will come a place where by the last week or by the end of next week, I'll be really encouraging you to open up to your background color. And it can be what it is right now. You don't have to change anything. There's this thing called negative painting, okay? And that's where, for example, I'll use mine as an example. Negative painting is where you see that background color there that's from the original three colors. Let's say there was a piece of fruit, for lack of a better thing, a piece of fruit that I had to draw on there. And I looked at that and I went, oh, it needs to stay that. Then I would paint my background around it so that the fruit stays the original three colors. I know it's kind of hard, but there's a cool process. I can take you through that. Uh, we do a negative painting. Everything is a negative painting, and it turns out so beautiful. But you need hair, you need clothing. Um, I forget, you have a flower, so you're going to want to sit down and open up to the final color of that parts of your mandala flower, you know. Um, and background, you know, and eye color, lip color. These are all things we will get into next week. Does she have jewelry? Well, what color is that jewelry? So you're going to have your paints around you, but to have three major palette colors is important, because you're going to be blending and pulling colors that'll work with those three colors. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you don't want to have all these subtle colors, all these pastels, and then bring in a fluorescent orange. You'd be going, what the hell? Hey, I mean, if she tells you to, you do it, but but like I'll be bringing in a color for the vine, a color for the leaves. I'll be bringing in a color for the pearls, her hair. Okay, got her skin, the wings, the background. So you see what I'm saying? Now it's looking at each section.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Perfect. No, it's just interesting. It's not about, well, it is, but it's really not about the painting.
It's not.
That's hard for me to wrap my head around. Like, that's difficult. It's not product, um, based.
Has nothing to do with product base. This is all about soul. And that's to me what makes it so profound. Because you're learning skill, you're learning technique, right? But when we do an intentional creative painting, it's communion. It's communion with, either self, deep self, soul self, authentic self, whatever you want to call it, or with muse or with the divine. And people call the divine a lot of different things. We define it as feminine, as goddess, but I mean, I've had individuals who are very locked into God, and that's it. That works for them too. They're communing with God, and it's all relative. It's all personal. I would say, in all honesty, this is the most important and profound painting of a painter's life when they learn this technique. you'll never let go of this painting. Even if in the end you go, I don't like it, it doesn't matter because it's soul message. The message that came through is something so deep, and most people like it. In the end, they're just like, wow, I did that, and it's so personal. It's so personal. But you can do this technique of painting for as product, okay, Jane, as product. You eliminate intention. You eliminate the intention. And so what it means is that you don't do the deep listening to bring through soul messages, because you don't want to paint something that's product oriented, that's coming from within you, that you're going to sell to other people. So what you set your intention is as, I am painting product. I know I want it to be an image of the muse, of muse energy. So can you show me? Can you show me what to paint? So you detach from it a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? You
Right.
don't go
Mhm.
as deep into it because you've set the intention that you're painting it. Now, I've painted spirit paintings for people. I do the exact same process with them. The first meeting that I start for the painting, they have to be there with me. And I begin the whole process by breathing with them, taking them on a journey, listening to what they got. I make copious notes, and then I say, okay, thank you. And then I paint their spirit painting for them. It takes me the same
Oh,
amount
how
of time.
fun.
It's very powerful, and it's very touching when they get their spirit painting because it's so much a part of them. And I will ask them for one primary color. What is one important color to you for the location where you're going to be hanging that? You know, that's kind of like the decorator question. The interior
Yeah.
what color is the room you're going to be hanging it in? Because I want it to blend so that it doesn't look like a sore thumb in the space they're going to put it in. But yeah, you can be adapted for a lot of things.
Nice. Yeah. It's therapy too.
Oh, it's art therapy. It is art therapy. Yes. Yeah. The different modalities of therapeutic art I do, um, this is probably the most involved of them all, you know. Art journaling or cosmic smash booking, that's a more immediate form of therapeutic art. Yeah. But this definitely, it's so soul-based. And here's the
Hmm.
cool thing about it. A person doesn't have to be an experienced painter. They can be an absolute beginner. They don't even have to be interested in doing any more paintings. And they still get something major out of it, and their end canvas, their end product is something they are proud of because it's them. So it's very
Hmm.
cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
that's really cool. I know. I didn't even know where to find the canvases in the store. I've never even touched a canvas before we started.
But how fun was that?
Yeah.
Didn't it make you feel like you were really a painter when you went into the store and looked for your canvases and had to choose which canvas and what size? It's like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
I totally pretended like I knew what I was doing. Like I do this
I
all
need
the
that
time, you know?
paintbrush. That's the paintbrush. Oh yes, that's the right one. Oh yes, here's the glaze I've been looking for. I'm so happy you carry it.
Yeah, cool.
That's the energy. That's the absolute energy. So it's very good.
I love it. Well, thank you for your time today. This is way fun.
I'm
And
happy you liked
yeah,
it.
at some point I want to talk about moving. Oh yeah,
About
yeah,
what?
I totally did. I want to talk about the Girl Apprenticeship.
Oh, okay, okay. We can maybe find a different time to sit and chat,
Yeah,
for that, because I'm sure, like me,
totally.
you're kind of at that place where I need a break. I need to breathe. I've been really focused. So yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so that sounds good to me. You can maybe send me a text on some days or times that are would be good for you, and I can look at my calendar too, or we can set something right now. It's really up to you.
Mm, I'll text you, and then
Okay, that
we can
works.
come up with something. That way it'll be a different space.
Yes, exactly. That sounds good
Beautiful.
to me. Well, have a great week and see you same
You
time,
too.
same station.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, Jane. Blessings.